so we were going through the forwarding order as a transactional data, and today we'll focus on the configuration part of the forwarding order, and also we'll check for an implementation project to work, what all configurations you may need to do with the forwarding order. We'll start from the forwarding order types, and then we'll see what all other configurations we may need to do. And then once the forwarding order, I think you are comfortable with the forwarding order creation and configuration, we'll move on to the other segments like creation of the freight unit, the necessary configurations which we need to do in order to configure a freight unit, and then how to assign a forwarding order type with a freight unit type so that the freight unit automatically gets created. Then we'll touch down on to freight unit, this one, creation rule, FUBR. And then, which is very important, that when you save the forwarding order, automatically freight unit gets created. And also we'll be touching on the incompatibilities, which is which actually decides which by which condition the freight unit gets created, what you cannot have in a freight unit. I mean, what kind of product related incompatibilities and other things that we cannot transport equally on the freight unit. So all these things we'll cover, but let's see, let's finish up with the forwarding order thing today, because that is a big transactional chunk of data which you may need to know at any point. Yeah. Okay, so until Aditi comes in, maybe quickly I'll open the class note and quickly walk you through on one thing that we may have skipped. That is, we know, like the implementation, how the implementation actually happens. So this part actually, just give me 1 second. Yeah, so here actually we didn't much talk about the TM implementation methodologies, which we will be quickly covering. I mean, it's not much into practical, doing in the system. It's more about the theory part, but you need to know what all the processes and what all the steps are there for each and every methodology. So we'll quickly do that today. Until and unless we get a quick server. So, when we talk about an implementation project, so normally in an SAP TM implementation project, today is 13th, right? So typically in an SAP TM implementation project, there can be mainly two types of implementation projects. The methodologies I'm talking about. So we have two methodologies. Okay. Two kind of methodologies in an implementation project. One is normally, it's not true for only SAP TM implementation. It's true for any implementation you talk about. So those methodologies includes, the first one is called waterfall. I'll come to that, what waterfall is, waterfall methodology. And then second one is normally called agile methodology. And there can be a hybrid as well, but normally I'm not going to hybrid thing, because hybrid is just the combination of this agile and waterfall. So primarily we have only agile or waterfall only. So so what is an waterfall and what is an agile? So in a normal waterfall methodology in SAP TM implementation, we hear the term which SAP, I think all of us almost aware about this term. This term is called accelerated SAP. Accelerated SAP, or sometimes it's called ASAP. So this particular methodology, or this particular thing includes the following steps. The first step is our project preparation phase. And then we have a typical blueprinting phase. Then we have, I'll come to each and every of these phases, what we do in a TM implementation in all these phases, because you may need to know in the interview, you may be asked. but please take a note of it. Maybe you will get the recording as well, so it will be good. So first is called a project preparation phase in an accelerated SAP. Second one is a blueprinting phase. Sorry. Okay, third one is a realization phase. Here actually sometimes it's called requirement gathering and blueprinting also. Sometimes it's called requirement gathering and blueprinting. Okay, so then we have realization phase, and then after realization phase we normally have the cutover phases. And then actually we go live. And then the final phase comes in is the support phase, or the product support phase. So this is what I'll about. Now let's quickly come to one of them. So TM can be implemented with a waterfall approach, waterfall methodology, which is normally an accelerated SAP or SAP methodology. So project preparation phase normally means that we'll be preparing for the project. Preparing means what? Preparing means we'll be deploying. I mean, we'll try to see what all resources. I mean, it's a kind of a project management activity where we'll be having all the estimations of the project, how much time it will take. We'll kick off all the calendars and all the timelines will be scheduling here only. We'll be defining, let's say, when, how long time we'll be having for preparation, how long we'll be having for, let's say, blueprinting, how long realization. So all these timelines and other things will be defined. How much resources and how much working hours are needed in a typical preparation phase, in a typical waterfall approach. So that will also be estimated here. How many resources you may need, and then what will be the combination, let's say how many functional or technical consultants will be needing. So all these things are actually covered into the project preparation phase in a standard waterfall approach or accelerated SAP. Then we have the next phase is called requirement gathering or blueprinting phase. So requirement gathering and blueprinting phase is, as the name suggests, like we start with workshops with the customer in the requirement gathering phase, and we try to understand that what all business processes that we need to map into SAP TM. So all these business processes will gather, we'll try to understand what all the business, let's say if it is a shipper scenario or freight forwarder scenario, that will be designing in the requirement, almost in the requirement gathering and blueprinting phase itself. Because, like you can understand by seeing the business model of the client that which particular SAP TM scenario will be fitting into it. Though this decision actually takes, actually been taken before the starting of the project, but you more focus into it because the product which you buy, that depends on either it will be a more focused towards a standalone TM or let's say S/4HANA TM or whatever. So all these things comes under most the workshop, and all these other things will comes under this requirement gathering phase. And then actually the blueprinting phase comes in where it'll be studying as is and to be. As I said, as is business processes will study, and then also you are going to decide on to be business processes. Here it's needed, and then ultimately a document you will create is called a business blueprint document or BBP document, business blueprint document, which actually talks about all as is and to be, so that by merely seeing the document, customer can decide that customer can understand, anybody can understand actually that what all will be as is versus to be, and if any business processes are being modified, or let's say how the SAP transactions or how the SAP process or SAP TM process will be covering each and every process of this. So this is what blueprinting phase is all about. Ultimately, the come out of this blueprinting phase is nothing but as I said, it will be a blueprinting document or a BBP document, and that document needs to be signed off before we actually start the project. That document needs to be signed off. That will be signed off before we start the project. So this is all about the blueprinting phase. And then once we complete this blueprinting phase, our realization phase starts. Realization phase is nothing but actual work of the project. That is in realization, consists about some development, configuration, development, and testing part. So configurations means what all standard configuration, SPRO configurations will be doing inside the SAP TM system, and then maybe few things will not be there, which you may need to activate, which you may which you cannot activate with, let's say you cannot activate with directly with the configuration. So those are called gaps. So those gaps are already identified in blueprinting phase. So those gaps will be covered in realization phase with some RICEP development. RICEP means, I think all of you know. So this RICEP development or ABAP development will actually be happening. It can be workflow, forms, interface, whatever. So there are so many kind of objects which can be developed, and then ultimately the testing phase starts. So whatever you configured, whatever you develop needs to be thoroughly tested in the testing phase. So testing is almost a part of a realization phase itself. So in testing phase, we have sub phases like functional unit testing. Then we have functional unit testing, means the functional consultant will be testing the basics of the solution, and then it will be done into the development environment. We know, like, we have three environments, like development, quality, and production. So we'll be mostly testing into the functional consultant will be testing into the development environment. That is the functional testing or FUT. And then after FUT, we'll be normally we can have an SIT, and SIT is called IT and SIT. IT means integration testing, and SIT is system integration testing. So IT is actually something like, let's say with your TM system, you are having your let's say GTS system, event management system, then you have your SAP ECC system, maybe CRM system also connected. So mostly in integration testing or system integration testing, we'll be focusing towards testing the areas which are not exactly inside TM, but maybe the interfaces. Let's say you build up the interfaces, they may be the standard interface, or they may be some custom interfaces as well. So we'll be testing them. So all kind of testing. So then after this FUT and ITSIT, you'll be having the ultimate testing, which is very important. That is called a user acceptance testing, or UAT. So that UAT is nothing but customer will be testing your solution. You need to guide the customer, business users, the super user, the business user, the super users. They will be testing the solution, and then ultimately when customer is satisfied, I mean the UAT goes over. Your system is ready. So there is another testing sometimes we take in. It's called regression testing. Regression testing is nothing but it's checking if some new changes come in. Let's say you are doing some sort of UAT or some sort of SITs. When you get some defects, so that defect means what? That some gaps are identified, but the program, or let's say the configuration, is not sufficient enough. I mean the issue is still there. So for that reason, you will again create some changes, maybe some RICEP changes, or code, or config changes. Then you'll move it to then again you'll move it to quality environment, from dev to quality, and then you can do some sort of regression testing to see that the existing scenarios which you have already configured, they are impacting a new changes or not. I mean, new changes is actually impacting that or not. So that's called a regression testing. So anyway, so after that, all these testings are over, and then sign off, UAT sign off happens. Then the cutover phase starts. Cutover phase, as you know, like we need to upload mostly the cutover activities, like preparation of master data and sanitization of the master data. You need to sometimes business or customer takes care of the cutover part. Sometimes the consultants or let's say the vendor company takes care. But whatever is it, in cutover phase, normally the master data related activities usually happen. Let's say all the master data are uploaded, they're replicated, they're made ready. Now, one quick catch up thing over is that in cutover, we send the master data to production environment. There could already be some master data in development and quality, because you are doing your testing. This one, what do you say, this FUT and UAT. So you're doing FUT and UAT, so obviously there is some master data inside your development and quality environment. So that master data may or may not be exactly the same what you are actually sending at the time of cutover activity to the production environment. So this has to be primarily sending the master data to activating the master data to production environment. And also there can be many other cases where let's say some number ranges which are not actually transportable. So you locally create them in production environment as a part of cutover activity. Let's say there are some and all your transports also get ready to be in the cutover activity to go into production environment. So ultimately, when your cutover is over, you actually send all your transports to the production environment, and that is how your go live happens. Go live can be of two kinds. One is called a technical go live, one is called a functional go live or business go live. The technical go live, as you know, like it's nothing but sending your changes to the production environment, but no one will be actually using it. And then I mean the changes will be lying over there. The business will not be using it. So once the business actually uses it, we call it business go live or functional go live. So make your concepts very clear here. I mean, I'm telling you each and every nitty-gritty of a typical implementation project. You should be very clear on it. And then ultimately, once your go live happens, I'm talking about functional go live happens or business go live happens, then there can be some hypercare period in which you need to support your client. Let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or it could be 5 weeks as well. So that agreed upon will be based on the contract that you have signed with your customer, and then on that period, this hypercare support will go on. Mostly there will be a ticketing tool. There could be remedy server. There could be other ticketing tools. So whatever be it, could be Solman, Jira, whatever. So it could be GSN. So whatever. So this, normally tickets are raised and strict SLAs are defined for them. Let's say priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 tickets. They are defined on a specific SLA, and they've been raised by which they need to resolve. Otherwise, there is a penalty provision on that. Now, then once the go live happens, once the hypercare support ends for, let's say, a couple of weeks or more, and then ultimately you hand over the solution to the customer. And during the support or hypercare support period, if you get some issues and really which is not getting solved, you may need to go back and do some changes. So it can go like you make some changes in development environment, and then it goes to quality, and then you send it to production environment. It may happen in hypercare support as well. So changes may move again up to production. That's what about the waterfall approach. Now, quickly come to the agile one. The agile one, as we all know, like agile is a more flexible and resilient kind of approach to implement a solution. Now, SAP has a kind of a standard solution in agile, which we all know is called SAP Activate. SAP Activate, and this SAP Activate is consists of steps like discover, prepare, prepare, realize, discover, prepare, and we have another phase. Discover, prepare, explore, discover, prepare, explore. Yeah, discover, prepare. Then we have explore phase. Discover, prepare, explore, realize. Then we have realize phase. Then we have deploy phase, and then we have our phase. So this is what Activate SAP Activate is all about. So mostly S4HANA projects are implemented. S4HANA products, S4HANA TM product will be implemented through this. SAP Activate methodology, and it will be kind of an agile mode. The catch line of agile mode is that your requirements, which come into mostly into project requirement gathering phase and blueprinting phase in accelerated SAP or waterfall approach, they may come at any phase until you go live in a typical agile project. So that is what agile actually means. Your solutions should be agile and resilient. And so more or less things are the same, but more focus towards agile in S4HANA project is that let's say you are implementing an S4HANA TM with an agile or SAP Activate methodology. Now in discover phase, what do you do? In discover phase, the similar is kind of a similar of this project preparation phase, where you decide on the product, where you decide on the nitty-gritties of the product, what all maybe interfaces you need and all. So you discover the solution. Then you prepare the solution, and then in explore phase is more important, because in explore phase what happens now that you try to fit into the standard solution. So it's called a gap fit analysis in explore phase. So you see here in waterfall approach we have a blueprinting phase here, but in normally in explore in SAP Activate we don't have a blueprinting phase. So always keep in mind, this question is asked many times in interviews. Why don't have a blueprinting phase in SAP Activate? Where is it? Do we not prepare a blueprinting document? As I said, the blueprinting document has most to do with as is and to be document, right? And gap fit analysis. Here in this explore phase, what we do is we have some sort of model. I'm not sure if you have heard this term or not. It's called model company products. S4 model company products. So S4 model company product is nothing but it's a lower environment which is provided to you where SAP is having a standard solution which you can run, in which you can create your business processes. You can run the business processes and check if the customer requirements are fitting into this model company requirements. I mean model company configuration. So mostly the idea in SAP Activate is to fit into the solution, standard solution which you have. You may have some gaps, and then you can do a RISE development. But idea in the explore phase is just to run a business scenario into the S4 model company server, and then check if there is any gap. If there is any gap, then that can be identified, and that can be later the RISE can be catered with the RISE development. But if let's say with some minor modifications with the business model or let's say the business process, you can fit into the standard product, that is advisable. So always remember that SAP best practice in explore phase or SAP Activate methodology is to fit into the standard solution. So they often say it's a kind of a gap fit workshop, so that you can fit into the solution. So you'll be configuring the solution, you'll be a demo to the customer, and you'll see if the business processes are fitting into. That's what you do in explore phase. So once you are over from explore phase, you'll get you'll have the information which all business processes are fitting into, and also the processes which are not fitting into, for which you may need to do some RISE development. So both the informations will be having, and then accordingly we'll be deciding on your RISE list and standard configurations list as well, which you may need to be ready. So yeah, so guys, so that's what about the explore phase. And then you have like the normal realization phase or realize phase, in which you'll be configuring and deploying your solution. I mean configuring and RISE development will happen, and also testing will happen in this. It's similar like to this one, the accelerated SAP and normal SAP waterfall approach as well. So, and then ultimately it will be a deploy. Deploy means you'll be having, so your cutover activity will also come under this deploy. So deploy phase, in a deploy phase, you'll be having cutover and go live. Both of them will come here in the deploy phase. And then also, then we have run activity, or the kind of post go live support or hypercare, where you actually run the solution and see that if any problems are coming in, then you'll be raising it to your vendor. The implementation vendor. So that's all about waterfall and agile approach. So I think most of you are clear. Only one thing you need to keep in mind, that there is no blueprinting document happening in SAP Activate. So we don't create a blueprinting document here. We don't need a sign up for blueprinting document. Because the standard approach is that we'll be fitting into the standard solution. If not, then probably we'll be creating some RISE developments. But the idea of SAP Activate was that it will be fitting into, at most you'll try to fit into the standard solution, and then which is why there is no blueprinting document gets created here. So instead of blueprinting, we may have some sort of gap fit document created here in this approach. So that's all. So I'm not sure I said too many things in a single shot. So you just let me know if you have any questions here. Otherwise, we'll move on to the normal this one forwarding order thing.
Yeah, Milan, how much time generally it will take for an average FMCG company or shipper scenario, or what would be the duration of the project?
Normally a TM, yeah. So normally in a TM implementation, I have never seen it go more than I'm talking about including go live. It should not go beyond 6 months, but there are exceptions to that. Normally it remains within 6 months, and I have seen cases where it is going up 6 months, up to 8 months. but it remains within that only. I mean, if you are doing it throughout a year, a particular implementation, then either it's a very big project where you are going a big bang approach. So we, like, I mean, there are two approaches. One is called a big bang approach, and another is called a rollout approach. Big bang approach means that, let's say you are rolling out you are having let's say solution. I mean, you are having your business in, let's say, 100 countries, and then you are trying to go live in all the 100 countries in a single shot. So it's called a big bang approach. Okay, so that is not advisable always. You do some sort of pilot in your, let's say, 4-5 countries, or let's say 4-5 company codes, and then once that runs well, you go to the rollout approach of the rest. There is a global template, or GT, which actually is called a GT, global template, which is rolled out. So normally GT, I mean the pilot which actually implemented, let's say, for 4-5 countries or 4-5 company codes by max, that takes 6 to 8 months max. It should not go beyond that. That answers your question?
Yes, Milan.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, then if we have anything else, any more things we can discuss on this, or sorry, or we can move on. Okay, then we'll move on. Just give me 1 second. I'll quickly log into the system. Oh my god, it's by default showing something else. S4 TM TR2, but it's S4 TM 15. So, S4 TM 15. Not sure, I'm logging into the same server. Okay, let's start. So we'll go to NWBC. So you see here, forwarding and order management.
Milan, one small doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Milan, as you are logging with NWBC, we are having Fury apps also. You will be sharing the list of Fury apps which are required.
Yeah,
for
we
TM,
can.
right?
Yeah, definitely. We can touch down the Fury app, and we'll show you in the Fury app how to log in through Fury app.
And also,
so as a consultant, Yeah, as a consultant, you're supposed to log in through NWBC because like Fiori has most to do with the business users who will be using the solution. So which is why I'm going through NWBC. But if you want to see the business user perspective as well, we can definitely go through Fiori as well.
Yeah, because
so definitely we'll touch on
because I also require the list of Fiori apps which we require for business users.
Yeah, sure. In TM, fortunately, there are not too many apps, so I can give you a list. Around 10-15 apps are there which are regularly used. So it's not like normal S4HANA, in which we have a long list of Fiori apps. Yes. So I'll be giving you that.
Okay.
No problem. I'll show you how to log in.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. I mean, this is what I think we covered this list. I think work list and other things. So we are actually touching on the forwarding order. Yesterday, I showed you how to go to a work list and then access a forwarding order. Let's say overview of forwarding order. Clicking on here. Here, let us try to go to a different way so that you can learn. So in forwarding order section, we have three options: create forwarding order, edit forwarding order, and display forwarding order. So I'll click on the display forwarding order. This is another way. If you know the forwarding order number, this is another way to you can open the forwarding order directly. Okay, so here it will ask you the forwarding order number only. So let me type it. Text 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1 1 0. 3 4 5 6. Yeah. So this is how we can log in into the forwarding order as well, or any let's say transactional data. Either we can go through Powell, or we can directly, if we have the number, we can directly access this transaction. Okay, so I think we covered until order route. Yeah, this one is done. So yeah, until this tab we covered the order route, and where we checked on the stages and all. Probably you remember. So yeah, so this is the one we talked about. There were pre-carriage, main carriage, and on-carriage stages. I'm just opening the note. Yeah, so you see here this part we covered. So we have a pickup, pre-carriage, main carriage, on-carriage, and delivery stage. So these are the things we covered. Now we'll go to document flow. Now this document flow, as you know, like in SAP, in document flow tab normally shows us the predecessor and successor documents. So all of you can see here. So let's see what all things we see here. It's very interesting and very important for you. So first we see forwarding order demo. That is the forwarding order number that we are here. So here. So there is no predecessor document to that. Had there been a forwarding quotation, which maybe will cover under master data, or let's say a forwarding agreement, it could have been shown here. But as we have manually created this, or let's say we have directly opened a forwarding order, which directly got created by copying or manually created. So it shows only the highest level hierarchy shows over here is the forwarding order itself. Now then we have the next one is called a successor business document. As the name suggests, the successor documents will be shown below. So first thing we see here, it's a very eye-catching thing, that is called a freight unit. So you see here, what is point to be noted is that forwarding order, a freight unit is already there inside a forwarding order. Let's do one thing. Let's create a forwarding order and see what happens. Probably this will help you out to understand. So I'll go to this one, this create a forwarding order. So you see so many options are there, like basic data in the forwarding order type you can give, transportation mode, traffic direction, shipping to everything you can give here. Well created. Let's do one thing. Let's create a forwarding order. I mean the quickest way to create a forwarding order is to copy an existing, like we do in SAP. So I'm giving the forwarding order number which I was using here. So I'm giving that number 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 1 0. So that is the forwarding number I was using. So I'll give that. And other informations are also available, like forwarding quotation, forwarding order template, etc. Forwarding agreement we can give here. So let's say let's we give the order number if we know we give here, and then we press on continue. Okay, so you see here when the first forwarding order gets created, the description comes in like create CH forwarding order. This is the description of the order demo, and the number comes in as a $1. So that is important because like until and unless you save the data, the system will not show any number here. So which is why it shows $1, something like that. And then you save it. I've just copied the entire set of data which was there. Data saved successfully, and now we see here the number has come up. That is 130. 1 all zeros 130. Now if we go to the document flow, some interesting things we see here is that I only created a forwarding order, but if you go to the document flow, so yeah, if you go to the document flow, you see here some interesting thing that under this forwarding order successor business documents, a freight unit got created automatically. A freight unit got created automatically. So I didn't create a freight unit, right? But it got created automatically. I'll come to the freight unit, I'll show you. But point to be noted here is that then automatically a freight unit may get created when you create a forwarding order. There is a configuration in which you can define whether you will be creating a freight unit manually or a freight unit needs to be automatically created. So we'll come to that. So fine. So this is what I wanted to show you. So I came here. I'll go back to the old order. Now you see here, other than the freight unit, here we have a road freight order already assigned to it, and then a freight settlement document also got created for it. So that's an interesting thing, right? So you see here the entire business flow. If you remember my this one, the presentation where I showed you that that once a forwarding order is there, and then with a freight unit building, a freight unit automatically gets created, and then after this planning, the freight order or booking created, and then ultimately a freight settlement document gets created, right? So that this is what you see here. That a forwarding order, then you have a freight unit and the freight order, and then freight settlement document. So don't worry, I'll go one by one step so you will be able to see how those things are created. But anyway, this is what the document flow tab is all about. I'll go to the freight unit separately, so I'm not going inside a freight unit now because we need to complete the forwarding order first. So this is what the document flow is all about. Now I'll move on. There is a tab called charges here. So charges is nothing but the forwarding settlement charges or forwarding charges here. You need to bill your customer, so which is why the charge calculation has not yet happened. So you see here, the first thing catches your eye is called the invoicing status. It's not invoiced, and then we have a charge calculation status not calculated. So what is the difference between these two? First thing is that when you calculate the charge, now what is the charge calculation? Now very quickly, maybe you can touch down. Charge calculation I'll come in detail, but charge calculation is nothing but let's say you want to bill your customer. So how do you bill your customer? There can be two criteria, right? Either there is always an existing contract or agreement with the customer by which you are billing him, I mean referring to which you are billing him, or he's a one-time customer and you are billing him only on the basis of the rates which you have decided. Let's say he has shipped a product through you, and then the dimensions of the product, distance of the product, source and destination location of the product, delivery mode of the product, Incoterms of the product, based on all these criteria, you are billing him. So what I'm trying to say here is that, so charge calculation status normally means that the charges are calculated or not. I mean, charges normally get calculated from either from a forwarding agreement or there are some other criteria which have been set up. But normally it happens to a forwarding agreement if he is not an on-time customer. And then once the charge calculation actually gets completed, the status will come to calculated. It will change automatically. And then we have an invoicing status, not invoice. Invoicing status means that your charges are calculated, and then ultimately that charge calculation has been triggered to SAP ERP, and then an invoice document got created against that. I mean, the billing, the bill, the customer which will be sending to your customer, that already been posted in SAP ECC. In that case, the invoicing status comes to invoiced. So if you go inside these charges items, then probably you'll see it shows the charge hierarchy and all other things. I'm not going to very much detail here because there will be a separate session on charge calculation itself. But what I'm trying to show you that this is kind of a charge item will come, and we'll show you how this comes in detail. But this is what about the charges tab. So this shows the calculation date. And you see here in the total amount in local currency, sorry, I missed it. So this one is nothing but when your charges gets calculated, then the entire amount will be displayed here in, let's say it's US dollar, and then total amount of document currency and other rounded values, etc. All options are here. So actually these values will come only when the charges are calculated. Now how to calculate the charges and all will come later, but this is what the charge calculation tab is all about. And there is, right, there is an exchange rate date. Let's say your document currency, let's say it's an international business and you're billing your customer. Let's say the customer is a US customer and you are, let's say, somewhere in Europe. And let's say you are DHL, you're in Europe, you're headquartered in Europe, and then you bill the customer into, let's say, in euros, and then the customer pays into USD. So there is always an exchange rate which is applicable, though that comes under the scope purview of FI consultants. But anyway, if that exchange rate is maintained, the euro to USD conversion, then that exchange rate date is shown here, that on which dates exchange rate I'm taking, and then I'm converting. So you understand the difference between amount in local currency and document currency, right? Amount in local currency, as I said, amount in local currency means that you're billing your customer what is your currency. Let's say you're sitting in Europe, your DHL is sitting in Europe, billing your customer in euros. So that's what is amount in local currency. And then amount in document currency is the currency which maybe your customer would be paying to you. So while sending the bill, you need to send that to your customer as well. This most of the scenario, this will be the same, because in US dollar they pay normally. I mean, throughout the globe the business happens to US dollar, but it could be something if you are, let's say, working in a country, working for a country which has its own, I mean, very stipulation about its own currency. So then you could be something, I mean, you could be having this other currencies as well. So that's what. But we don't need to much go into depth here, just to understand, because FI consultants will be maintaining this exchange rate and it will be automatically getting converted. If it is not getting converted, then probably need to touch base with them and ask them why it's not coming or not. But anyway, that's how it works. I'll quickly go to the notes tab. It's nothing but a additional, let's say, note you would like to add. Let's say some what do I say? Some loading, unloading script you would like to add here. Some special instructions you would like to add here. So there can be some scenarios where you would like to, it's like a purchase order where you add some texts. So it's a note here. So you put an insert button. If I go to the edit mode, it will allow me to insert. I'm just showing you. I'm going to, let's see the insert button got enabled. Now you click on the insert button and then you can add a document here. So you see here, all this got enabled. Now you have to put in a text type. Let's say it's note, and then it's English language, and then the content you have to put in here. Let's say I'm putting it as a test, and then I'll save it. Yeah, it's saved successfully. So it shows my ID here through which I'm logging. That's it. Okay, I'll move on to the next one, attachment section. Attachment section, actually, as I said, there can be some sort of detailed information about the product which customer has actually given you. So you can attach it always. You create a note. I mean, the difference between attachment and note is that in note section you can write it down. If the length of your instruction or other things are smaller, then you'll be using this section, and in attachment section you can have a whole set of documents which you can upload and then attach here. So you drop the files here, it will be saved. That's how it goes. Internal charges section is not that important, but maybe I'll touch it down when I'll go to the charge calculation. As of now, I'm avoiding it. It's not really needed, but we'll touch it down. Don't worry. Profitability tab is nothing but expected profitability, which, let's say I'm giving an example, then you'll understand what profitability is. Here in the note itself, let's say profitability is what? Let's say you are a shipper, as I said. Let's say you are a panel pina or DHL, or let's say you are a CMS GMA. Now you do what? You have bought some spaces, right? And for that you are paying a bill. I mean, you are doing a freight settlement and paying bill to your customer. Let's say you pay €100 for your this one to your vendor. Okay, so you pay €100 to your vendor for a freight settlement. Okay, and now you have got a order from your customer. Now you have to bill your customer. You have to bill your customer more than that, right? There will be some margins, otherwise where your profit will go. So let's say you bill your customer €120. So this is what a profitability is. Now here for this particular forwarding order, your profitability comes of, let's say, €20. So like that. So that is what the profitability tab is all about. But seldom we use that, because we have a freight and forwarding settlements, and there is a module in ECC we call COPA. Consultants, they are primarily FI consultants. So whatever profitability happens, it comes through COPA. So they're the part of FI consultants actually. Normally FI or COPA consultants, they actually work on it. So you'll be closely working with, if you work in TM, just keep in mind that chances are very high that COPA is activated in, COPA needs to be activated in ACC. So COPA, if COPA is activated in ACC, then you need to work with FI consultants and try and understand if everything is working or not. You don't need to much understand depth of it, but if something goes wrong, then you can get in touch with a COPA guy from FI team. That's what. And then ultimately we have the administrative data. The administrative data is nothing but when it was created, when it was changed, etc., and the timestamps that shows here. Just quickly check if we are left out with anything. Okay, so we have statuses. Now, statuses is an important tab because it shows what is the life cycle status, confirmations, everything, status of the document itself. So you see here, the first one is the plan status. It means that life cycle status plan. It means what? It means that your plan means what? You just think about it. You have your forwarding order, you created a freight unit. But until and unless that freight unit is matched, I mean, is planned with a capacity. Capacity means what? Either a freight booking or a freight order. Then the status will change to plan. So initially the life cycle status will be created. Let's see the order I have created. Okay, in front of you. So this is a order I created right in front of you. Let's go and check what is the status over there. See, the life cycle status is still in planning. Okay, I mean, it's not yet planned. Planning didn't get completed. Okay, it's still in planning. But here, see the difference. Note the difference. The life cycle status is planned. Why? Because if you go to the document flow tab on this, let us go back to document flow quickly. Already, either a freight order or a freight booking must have been planned. See, in the successor document, you can clearly see a freight order has been planned against this freight unit. So the status has changed to plan. And then if you go here in the one I created, the status, we go to the document flow tab. See, there is no freight order booking is there because I didn't plan it yet. I didn't, the planning has not been completed. I'm yet to plan on this. So, which is why my status here shows that in planning. Whereas this one, the status shows as planned. So this is the difference. Planned, right? Okay. So other than that, we have confirmation status. Confirmation status means sometimes we need a confirmation from customer side. That will be sending the details of the forwarding order and customer will be confirming. Then we can, there is a button here, you see, confirm. So we can confirm it. So if we confirm it, we can, the status will change. Let's try this if it works. Confirmation data created from order data. Okay, and then the status has changed to confirm. So it's confirmed now. Confirmed means nothing but the customer has given a confirmation on this order. Okay, then we have aggregation of organization interaction status. It's not that much important for you, but yeah, planning status, I think it's almost same like a life cycle status, but planning status has to do with only planning, but life cycle status will be everything like created, planned, let's say executed, let's say built or invoiced. All of the things will come into life cycle status, but planning status will show either it is planned or unplanned. That's it. Then we have execution status, you know, like executions means either a freight, the execution of this order has been started or not. So we'll come on a freight execution on this, but normally you understand the executions means that order has been already been into some sort of loading, unloading, dispatching, all those activities. If they happen, then the execution status will come as executed. So this is how it comes. And then we have other statuses like customs and delivery status. So custom declaration and security declaration, if you define them, then definitely these statuses will come into play. That's it. Then we have a blocking information. So if we have a planning block, then it will come as a red. Then we have execution block. It will come as a red if it is blocked. All of these are not blocked. Confirmation blocks also not blocked, and forwarding settlement document block is also not blocked. If they are blocked, this status will show you the red status. So this is all about the statuses. And then we have output management. So in output management, you see here, I think someone was actually saying me the output management, are we going to cover? So I didn't clearly mention in the document because output management is a part of your job. You have to know the output management on each and every of the documents. So it's nothing special about it. So output management is nothing but like we do like the same. It's like output management, what we do in SAP ECC. We do what? We do print, we do EDI, we do fax, we do, let's say, IDOC triggering, whatever. I mean, we send this information somehow. This has to do something with the outer world. It's not inside the TM. It's something to do with the outer world. It can be EDI. It can be a print, simple print. So all these information, I mean, all these things will be taken care in output management. So you can when you need to print this, you can like, let's say that here the processing has failed, but if you, let's say, do an output management and if it is successful, then it will, in this, if you select this one in the line item section, it will show you the statuses. Like, let's say email or fax details here. So priority is medium and the subject is forwarding order. Okay, now here you can define the recipients, where it will go and all. It could be an EDI, as I said, as well. So document title, etc. you can attach here. So these are the things I display. And then the message log says that it has been successfully processed or not. So you see here it has not been successfully processed. That's because of some sort of business add-ins has failed. Actually, it was not properly called. And there is a printing error which has happened. So log shows the error, and then action details shows that what all actions you can, like you see in the action profile, you see here one long action has been mentioned here. So it's nothing but the print profile for forwarding order. Is someone has set it up, and probably the setting was not correct. So which is why it is showing that it has not been yet. I mean, clearly, I mean, it has gone into an error. Here the processing details, it shows what kind of a form you are printing. Let's say the PDF based forms here, and then let's say the external communication, etc. So yeah, we can see that, no problem. But remember one thing, rather than the forwarding order, printing of your output forms into your freight order or freight booking is more important, because forwarding order normally is a customer document. So we sometimes print the forwarding order things as well, but it's a very rare activity. Normally we print the activities of forwarding order and freight booking because they are vendor or career related activities, and we need to understand how my shipment, we need to provide all the documentation, and then we need to understand how my shipment is going on, maybe track them and then print accordingly. Let's say custom declaration, security declaration, everything. So more important part is the freight part, not the forwarding part, but sometimes we can do printing if needed for forwarding order as well. Then we have HBL or HAWB. HBL or HAWB is a concept. Let me clear you on this. So it is nothing but a bill of lading. So I'm not sure how much you are aware about, but let me touch down. Let me go into it because this will be needed later stage. So HBL, by HBL it means house bill of lading. It's called HBL. And then also we have HAWB. So what is HAWB? House airway bill of lading. So let's understand what is the difference and how it is. So other than HBL, we'll be having another thing I'm telling you in advance, that is called, let me press enter. Yeah. So other than houseway bill of lading, we'll be having another bill of lading. It's called master bill of lading or MBL. And also will be having master airway bill of lading. So let us understand what is this all about. I'm not sure if you are aware about this bill of lading thing, but bill of lading is nothing but a documentation which has to do with the external world. Okay, now how it is differing, let's say why it is house bill and then house airway bill, because if it is an ocean shipment, you need to have this house bill of lading. It's nothing but a number. So if you go here, you see the against the freight unit, it shows not relevant, but against the freight unit, the status it shows not relevant. But let me see. Here you see there is a button called HBL. So we can draw an HBL and we can create an HBL from here. Okay, let's see if it works here. Set to finalize. Okay, draw HBL number is okay. It's not showing it. Let me try my document. Give me 1 second. If the setup is not ready, then probably not. Oh, sorry. Where is it? Just a second. It's here. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this one I created. Let us go to the here HBL or HWB. So let us try to have this. There is an HBL section. Okay, it's draw HBL number. So draw HBL number is not there because so many things are, I think properly it has not been set up. Normally it has not been set up because of the customer number and other things are not clearly being set up. So I'll show you in one session how a house airway bill actually is triggered. But just try and understand this house airway bill has to do with a number, which here you see the number. Let's say if you cannot draw it directly, you can put a number here. So it has to do with some sort of external numbering which will help you to ship and track your product. See, it has already been updated. So drawing is not working, but I can update it directly, and then I can set it to finalize. So it has come to finalized as well. So this is the number by which it will be tracked down. So this is the house airway bill number. Airway bills are nothing but when you order something in through air. Normally you see that there is a bill of lading number comes in within your shipment. Let's say you order something in Amazon, and if it comes by air, you'll be getting a barcode and a HBL number over there. So that is nothing but for tracking purpose. So that is what the HBL number is. And then we come into the next thing. Just a second. So just try to understand house bill lading is for ocean. Normally for ocean, house airway bill of lading is normally for air, And then master and master airway bill of lading is also for ocean, but this is house means, always keep in mind that house means it will belong to a forwarding order. House airway bill also will be belonging to a air forwarding order, and this will be an ocean forwarding order. And then master bill of lading will be for applicable for your this one freight booking. It could be air, it's bill of lading, it will be for ocean, it will be for ocean freight booking, it will be for ocean freight booking. And then for airway master airway bill, it's called MAWB. It will also be for your air freight booking. Sorry, air freight booking, right? Air freight booking. So these 4 terms you just keep in your mind, because these will be needed when we move forward. So always remember that if it is a house bill of lading, it will be a forwarding order, and if it is a master bill of lading, it will be a freight booking. It's not it can be, as I said, it can be air and ocean as well, both. Like for air, it will be house airway, and it will be normal house bill of lading. That's what a bill of lading is. So we'll move on. We are done. I think how many we are left? Okay, we are done. So I think I have almost covered everything in the forwarding order. So this transaction data, all of us needed to know. Now there is a setting button. Now what all menu we have, you see there are many button will come one after another. There is an option for cancelling the document. You can cancel the document from here directly. HBL, I think I've already covered. We can there are some follow-on documents which needs to be created. So we can do it from here, like here shows start transportation cockpit. So I'm not going to here, we'll come to planning section then. And then also there is another important button. Let me tell you, this one is called a settings button. This is important because you may need to do some changes in the setting button. Let's say you want to change the page layout. So you go to here, you'll be able to customize the selections. Customize the screen, which you can see here. Let's say some specific tabs are not important for you. You can drop them. Like here we see the general data, business partner, actual load, order load, all minute. Let's say you do some reason, my customer is not printing anything. No output management is happening. So I can select the output management tab and I can drop it. I can simply delete or drop it. Okay, so that in the next screen, when the screen will come, the output management tab will be missing. And this is also the section 1, section 2 means a header and item. So if I want something into the item sections, I can pull it down as well. Like let's say the output management tab is in the header section, layout section 1, and then I can send it to the item sections as well. So I can delete it, I can remove it, and I can send it to the item section, or I can add if something I need. Maybe some fields are missing, some tabs are missing. I can add a few add the tabs. Normally this is needed because sorting will be needed. Let's say in a normal forwarding order, you are working on only 2 to 3 tabs which are really important for you. So in the sorting section here, let's say I'm showing you some sorting. Let's see. So you see here in the sorting section, general data comes first. Then business partner, location, dates and time. Let's say my location, dates and time is more important than business partner. So I'll click on this button and we'll go above. That's it. And if I save this layout, then next time when I log in, from now onwards, actually, the location, dates and time will come in the second position. So this setting button is important. So all of the customers will not be using probably all of the tabs of the forwarding order. So you drop the tab which is not really needed for you. That's what. So I think we have covered into mostly the fields and the data of the forwarding order, transactional data. But the more important part is left out. That is the configuration. So in an implementation project, we need to configure a forwarding order, and then we need to tell the client it has been configured. You test it if it is working fine or not. So let's go quickly and check from where we can configure all the nitty-gritties of the forwarding order. So we'll go to SPRO. So you go here. It's like similar like ECC. You just click on this SPRO transaction, and then go to SAP reference IMG. Be it standalone TM. If it is a standalone TM, you'll be getting only transportation management menu. And if it is not a standalone TM, like it's an S4HANA, then we'll be giving all the menu. So here I'm getting everything. So I need to just go to the transportation management section. So my entire this one transportation management configuration part opens here. So you see here clearly there is a segregation of forwarding order management, freight order management, planning, settlement, integration. So everything has been segregated very clearly. If you're working with a forwarding order, just go to the forwarding order management, and then you have all the options where you can customize or configure your forwarding order. Let's say the first one is the define number range intervals for forwarding order management. So it's nothing but the number range, but we can have a quick look. So you see here, all the forwarding orders which will be created will be starting from this one and then ending with this one, where the average number, I mean, the number status is this one. And until this, it has been created. So this shows the status. So this is the number range. Then we go to the item type for forwarding order management. Now, which is important. Let's see what is it. So item type means maybe we'll go more detail into it later, but item type, let me give you an overview. Item type is nothing but the item which you are seeing in the forwarding order. This item I'm talking about, this product, okay, which you are seeing here as a line item. This item type it has been decided. So you see ch_I is your item type, right? So if you go here, you see ch_I is there. So it's for a product. Now, like that, it can be several other item types like container, package. Then you have service. So let us understand what is the difference. Now, there can be a naked product which can be directly transported. It doesn't need a packaging. Let's say I'm talking about let's say something like a raw machine which is going for some sort of repair. I can send it without packing. So for that, I can use the item type as a product directly. But let's say something we cannot ship without a container. So ideally, we should be using the container in that case. So this item type is actually linked with the forwarding order type. So whenever you create a forwarding order type, automatically by default some item type will come, but you may change it. If you want, you may change it. So likewise, you have package, you have service, etc. as an item type, and you create your own Z item types. You see here, if you copy, you just go and copy and then create a new. That's it. Let's see how that works. Let's say I'm copying this one itself, the product item demo. So I'm copying it. Now this screen will come. I'll change the name here in the item type. I'll change the name. Let's say Z something, and then if needed, I can provide also the default unit of measures, default volume of unit of measures, etc. We can define all these options are here. So this is how the item type actually gets created. I mean, there's a definition of item type. Then we go to the more important ones. Now you see define default agreement partner. I'm skipping it. It's not needed just now. Then the more important thing is define stage types. Define movement types. No, I'll not go to that. Let's go to the forwarding order first. Just a sec. Yeah, we have a forwarding order here. Okay, so we'll go here directly. So here, the more important thing, because I have covered the forwarding order today, we'll concentrate on that. Define forwarding order types. It's the most important. Let's click on here. You see what all the forwarding order types, like let's go to the forwarding order and check. You see what is the doc type. We'll go to the general data tab. And then you see the document type is CHFW, right? Now you go here. In SPRO, you see CHFW is here, the description. This is the forwarding order that we are currently working with. Now you click on the magnifier button and it will show you everything. So in a forwarding order, you need to configure so many things because there are so many fields are there in the forwarding order. So let's quickly work them through because it will be a very long thing. But anyway, let's touch down. So in the forwarding order doc type, the first thing we have obviously the number ranges and the template number ranges. Template number ranges interval is also defined, but mostly the number range interval is an important thing here that I showed you. So number ranges. Then we have the basic settings. In basic settings, by default, we are defining a default shipping type. I may or may not define a default shipping type. Then in that case, that particular order doc type or forwarding order type will not take that, but always normally we defined normally a transportation mode we normally define, like let's say what all the transportation mode we have: air, ocean. So you see rail, road, air, ocean, sea. So there can be some Z transportation doc types as well. I mean Z transportation modes as well. So this is what you can define here in the transportation mode. And then you have a shipping type and traffic direction. Traffic direction, if you check, as I said, it could be export and import. Transit is not that important, but in anyway, you will be working with either export or import. So if you select an import here, then by default, it will be coming into your forwarding order when you create that. Then important things are like stage determination, right? So stage determination, we have the as you know, like stages are determined based on what? So here you see there are only two options. Either you can determine the stage by movement type, as I said already, and because you remember we said door to door, door to port, other things. Let's go back and check. If you see here, I told you that every stage, whatever is being defined here, will be actually dependent on your movement types. So if it is a door to door, then the full entire scenario will be covered. If it is a door to port, then only this much will cover. I mean, it will be picked up from door, but only up to port. So your source location will be a shipper location or pickup location, and then destination will be a port. Like that, likewise. And then we have a port to port. So if it is a port to port movement type, then it will be only from port to port. This much only. So we'll be having only a main carriage. Will not be having pickup, pre-carriage, and on-carriage delivery stages. So likewise, you can here in the this one configuration, you can define that your how your stage type will be determined. So normally stage type gets determined by movement type. That's correct. By default, this option we use, because if we go by stage profile, then again we have to configure the stage profile. We can do that definitely, but normally a movement type we put here. And then we have other important things like freight unit building rule. I was coming to this. So this thing will go in detail. So when we created a forwarding order, did you notice a freight unit automatically got created? You notice, right? I told you that a freight unit is automatically getting created. This thing is decided from here. So this freight unit building rule is actually from the freight unit configuration, which is actually coming here. And as you have set it up here, then when you are creating the forwarding order, then you are creating the forwarding order, automatically a freight unit is getting created. So you see a tick here, automatic freight unit building. So if you untick it and then save it, then your freight unit will automatically not get created. It will not get created. This type of forwarding order. So you can always try and check. I mean, when you practice, you untick it and you try to create a forwarding order manually with this. So your freight unit will automatically not be getting created. Then we have freight unit building rule. Okay, so yeah, freight unit building rule. Maybe we can have a quick time to check the freight unit building rule thing. Let's go to SPR once again. Sorry, we opened only one. Okay, no problem. Again, sorry, we got a transportation management, and then inside forwarding order management, the freight unit will be there. So we have, oh god, okay, yeah. So inside the forwarding order, sorry, I went into here. It should be in planning. Yeah, freight unit. So it's a defined freight unit type, means you will be defining the freight unit, and then you have general settings, default route, defined stages. Just a sec. But freight unit building rule should be there in forwarding order itself. Default company should be somewhere here.
Freight unit type level maybe.
Yeah.
Planning mode. Last one.
Planning. Yeah.
Down. Freight unit type is.
Freight unit type. Yeah. No. That's I saw. The freight unit type is okay. I mean, here we are defining only freight unit type. I mean, the type of the freight unit. And yeah, right, you're right. So freight unit type we can define here, and then also we can have. Just give me 1 second. It should be here.
So building rule assigned to the integration profile level.
Yes. This is not where actually I was trying to check the freight unit building rule.
Integration profile. Go to integration.
Integration profile, right?
Yeah. Integration profile level, you can assign the Yes. Yes. Yes.
How many words you have written down?
External eye, internal eye.
What is that?
Define logistic integration profile.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
Yes.
there. Freight unit building. Yeah, here only. So this is what, like, based on the profile, this will be, but anyway, we'll come in the freight unit later when we actually go to a freight unit and we try to see. So because there is another thing that we need to cover here, I'm not going detail because we need to understand incompatibilities. Okay, so while we doing all these activities in TM, we need to check the incompatibility as well. I mean, when we cover incompatibilities, this thing also we covered. But anyway, that's how it actually gets pulled. And then you define in the forwarding order type itself that what kind of freight unit building rule will be having. And yeah, that's what. You can define a planning profile. Planning profile I'm not going because planning will be a separate session. Other than the important fields, let me quickly check. Yeah, the output option is an important thing. So output profile is a profile like you need to provide here by default how a printing will happen, how a print profile we need to set up here. Okay, so output profile will be providing something. Add output profile, you see FWO print has been provided for TRQ thing. And whenever you call a forwarding order, by default it will come. I think I showed you. Where was the output? Yeah, we go to output management. Sorry, it's here. So if you check here, if you click here, I think I showed you. Come on, so slow. It hanged or what? Let's go to the next forwarding order if I can. Output management. No, system has hanged, I believe. It's also going around and around. But anyway, this is what you define here actually be called directly for this order type or forwarding order type. Other than that, dangerous goods profile is another important thing which which we may need to define based on the dangerous goods we actually will be shipping or not. So dangerous goods profile is actually separately being set up, but you can provide a default dangerous goods profile whenever a forwarding order gets created. That we can do. No, it's completely gone now. Okay, so yeah, so all these things I would rather request you that you go into most of the important fields actually I've touched down, but if you get some time, please go inside this document setting, forwarding order type setting, and then check what all configurations are there, what all customization you can do. If you have some questions, you can always come back to me and ask on this if you have questions. Okay, but just go ahead and check also so that you may be on the same page. So I'll go back, it completely hanged. Okay, so what all we are doing? Okay, so today we have covered mostly this part, the creation of a forwarding order, the transactional data in the forwarding order, and then also the forwarding order management. I mean, forwarding order defined forwarding order types, what all we can configure in an implementation project in order to configure a forwarding order from scratch, and what all the default values we can provide, which will be actually pulling into. Now, the target of the next session would be that we'll be creating a series of other like documents, like let's say from forwarding order, we'll be creating a freight unit is already created. So we'll check the configuration of freight unit as well very quickly, touch down on that. And then we'll check on what all the data inside the freight unit. And then actually we'll be going and trying to create a successor document of the freight unit and forwarding order. That is a freight order, or let's say freight booking from a forwarding order, so that we can understand how a normal business runs. So there are several ways to create a successor document of a forwarding order or freight unit. We can have a transportation cockpit scenario, we can have normal scenario, I mean, without planning also, definitely we'll be planning, but directly we can create documents, like we can directly create a freight order or a freight booking from a freight unit itself. So this is what business adopt, because that's the quickest one. But if you want to plan, let's say 100 number of forwarding freight units with a freight booking, then you may go to the transportation cockpit. So we'll check on that. We'll do that in the next session. That's what I have planned. Had it been solved? Yeah, it's open now. So you see here the dangerous goods profile has already been maintained. I mean, it's already configured. So if you select here, by default it will be a default dangerous goods profile assigned to your forwarding order type. Then we have other checks and blocks. If you want to have an enable credit limit check means nothing. If you have your, let's say, your business partner, or let's say the customer, for the customer, you may need to check the credit limit, because let's say the customer has ordered for 100 euro and his credit limit defined inside the system is only, let's say, 50 euros or 90 euros, then you should not be processing the order. Your order should be going into the credit limit block. So if you tick this tick, I mean, if you tick it and save it, then your forwarding order will be automatically checking and have putting it into a block. So likewise, we have compliance check and automatic blockers, which we can configure. Then we have default unit of measures, which we normally don't define, because it is normally defined directly into the forwarding order itself, but there is always a option of maintaining that too. Another important thing is the import forwarding order type. Now, let me show you this quickly. We have a few minutes left. So what is an import forwarding order? I'm taking this scenario, then try to understand why an import forwarding order is showing in against an export forwarding order. So let's say this is the scenario where we are going to cover. Now think in a different perspective. Let's say your forwarding order, let's say this shipment, which is let's say, as I said, it's starting from let's say Germany and then going to China. Now your shipper location is Germany, somewhere in Germany, Munich, and then let's say consign is Guangzhou, China. Now you can understand that the entire end-to-end forwarding order, rather I should say export forwarding order, has been created by a German user. So try to understand here. Your export forwarding order has been created by, let's say, German user, and then you have your then it has been already created, and let's say your products are shipped. Now think on a different perspective. There will be a China user as well, who may need to access the set of documents for several purposes. Likewise, let's say they may need to do a custom declaration, security declaration in the receiving port. So the problem is that this export forwarding order, the Deutschland user, the German user, they will not allow the China user to change. Because why they will not allow? I'm telling you, because normally what happens in a business scenario, the entity, let's say country entity, sometimes, let's say the same company, let's say both of them belong to Nestle. Okay, so Deutschland, Nestle, and Nestle Deutschland, and then Nestle China. Now the problem is, though they belong to the same company, but they may or may not belong to the same company code, because they may be having an individual strategic business units. They are having individual the account statements. So obviously these businesses will be different, though they come under the same umbrella. So the problem is the export. Now here the Deutschland, though they belong, say Nestle Deutschland, they belong to the same company, but Nestle Deutschland could be the shipper, or let's say it could be the person who is actually shipping, or rather than that, it could be a vendor or vendor for that. And then actually the China who is importing the product will be the customer. But in China side as well, they need to do some sort of documentation, as I said. Now, what about China user? Deutschland user will not allow to modify the export forwarding order for China user, but they need to. But somehow China users, they need to modify that. So then what how we can cater this? So which is why another concept of import forwarding order has been introduced. Import forwarding order is nothing but from the export forwarding order itself, we can create a replica of the export forwarding order, and which will be kind of an import forwarding order based on the scenario which China user may need to have. So this export forwarding order will be, import forwarding order will be almost having the same data, whatever we have in export forwarding order. Only thing is that the import forwarding order part will be used by China user for the incoming or the inbound custom security declaration or any other formality that is needed really. And then ultimately the export forwarding order will be locked. Once that export forwarding order goes into execution, it will be locked. You cannot modify it. So which is why a concept of import forwarding order also comes in. I'll try to show you one scenario where an import forwarding order is getting generated from an export forwarding order. I'll set up the data and then I'll show you so that you are aware about. But on the different perspective, on another perspective, you can directly create an import forwarding order as well. But that is another scenario, like if you would like to have, but normally an import forwarding order gets created from an export forwarding order for the purpose of a different country user who may need to access or modify in the inbound part, or let's say incoming part of the forwarding order. So that is why that is what the purpose is. So here where we are going here, that this one, the import forwarding order type. So here, if you assign an import forwarding order type against an export forwarding order, then an import forwarding order automatically gets created from an export forwarding order. This is what I was about to say, that see, these many number of import forwarding order options are here. So if you configure them, then you will be able to create an import forwarding order. It will just be a replica of the export forwarding order. So this thing, don't worry, we'll run a scenario and I will show you. I'll set up a data, just check the sanity of the data, if everything is fine or not. And then we have partner determination profile, like what is it? It's just for pulling the business partner. If you want to have a default partner determination profile, you can assign it. So based on that, your partner will be determined in the business partner tab. That's it. Then in additional settings, we don't really use it. It's approval workflow and etc. Seldom we use it. Sometimes you would use the instruction set, but rather than it will not be much used. DINPro application is more technical, but if we have some sort of DINPro application configurations which we may need to add here, we can provide. And then ultimately the administrative data is there who has changed it. So that's all about primarily all about the, let me see if I'm something left out. Okay, nothing much. Okay, so this charge calculation settlement is also there. So for charge calculation settlement, you have to tick on the enable charge calculation in order to allow the forwarding order to calculate forwarding charges. If you don't take it, system will not allow you to calculate the charges. And then if you would like to have automatic charge calculation where you no need to click on this charge calculation button, you can tick on here so that automatically charges will be calculated if a forwarding agreement is there. And then other than that, this default charges view, these are not much important. Enable forwarding settlement, again it will allow you to create a forwarding settlement against this forwarding order. And then settlement terms and conditions, there is a default settlement ISD type which you can define here. Yes, the user will be able to choose it, or somehow it will be defaulting it. The defaulting options are Incoterm and freight term. So all those things are here. Residence detail periods are not that much important. So I think I've touched most of the things in the forwarding order doc type, and this forwarding order doc type is more important for all of us because it controls the entire forwarding order document. And I'd request have a look. If needed, you make some changes here and then you create a forwarding order, just see how the system is behaving. That will help to increase your knowledge on this. Now I quickly touch on the assign item types to forwarding order types. It is nothing but, I think I told you, but it is nothing but the forwarding order type and item type being assigned. So if your forwarding order type is assigned to an item type, then by default that item type only will be pulled. So that's what has been. So item type is nothing but this one, as I showed you in the forwarding order. Where is it? Sorry. It's here only. Sorry, not here. Here, the item type was here. This item type can be defaulted. Okay, that's what. This is what. So this item type can be defaulted against the forwarding order type. So this is what the link is all about. Define default capacity document types for stages. This one we sometimes use. This talks about the capacity. I mean the document types. Like let's say you have the forwarding order doc type, and then you have other capacity document type. Let's say it's a freight order, or let's say it's a freight booking. So you can define against which forwarding order doc type you will be having which particular capacity document type. I mean the freight order type or a freight booking type. If you don't even configure it, then a system will allow you to add it manually. But ideally in the scenario, we sometimes configure it just to make sure that only that forwarding order type, I mean freight order type or freight booking type is allowed for the forwarding order when the successor document or capacity documents are created. So this is what that configuration is. Okay, yeah. So I think the most of the forwarding order thing I have covered. Let me check if something is there. Item type we have checked these. Okay, now another thing is define stage types. I think it's quite understandable, but maybe we can touch down. Stage type is nothing but, as I said, either it will be a pre-carriage, main carriage, on carriage, pickup, or delivery. I told you, right? So here you are defining the name of the stage, which will be coming automatically. And if you can assign it to forwarding order, then those stages will be relevant. So in a stage type, you can define, like, let's say C11 is a stage type, and it will be a pre-carriage stage. So that's what you are defining here, what all stages you may have. So by default, system will be having, I believe, at least 5 stages: pre-carriage, main carriage, on carriage, pickup, and delivery. But if you want to have some Z stages, let's say, for your need, you can define it here. Then you have movement types. Movement types, like door to door, door to port, port to door. So all those things are there, but some sort of this one custom movement type they have used here. I mean, created here. So if you need, you can create them as well. Define, this is important, define stage type sequence for movement types. Now, as I said, this is a bit understanding, I mean, thing which you need to, here you are linking your movement type with your stage type. Here you are linking a movement type with your stage type, so that they are decided accordingly with your requirement. Like, let's say here in my sheet I was showing you here, let's say you have your let's say the movement type is door to, let's say door to port. So in that case, only the stages relevant would be pickup, pre-carriage, main carriage, and that's it. Pickup, main carriage, and that's it. I mean, you'll be picking up from door, but actually going to port. So which is why you'll be having only pickup, pre-carriage, and main carriage stage. So that is what has been actually dictated here. You can define it here. You are linking a movement type with your stage type and the sequence of it. Let's say the pre-carriage would be the first one. If you see here, they have actually made it sequence for CM3. They have made C11, then for 200 sequence number 200 C11, and again 300 for C12, 400 for C13, 500 for C13. Likewise, you can define how the stages will be there for a movement type. And this one is for define allowed transportation modes for stage type. Now we all know, like transportation modes that by default there are a few transportation modes are available, but anyway you can define for your Z. If you define a stage, let's say Z stage type, then you can define that what would be your transportation mode for that stage. So it's relevant if you define a Z1 only. Shipping type and stage profiles, we know. So in the forwarding order, well, you have seen that we have two options of defaulting the stage type. Either it would be through a movement type, or it would be through a stage profile. So this is what the stage profile is. So you can have this mostly works as a condition technique in SAP. So if you define a stage profile, let's say this stage profile you define, it's an import, let's say this one only, your stage profile for export. And then this, if you check here, then these stage types will be defined based on the stage profile. So if you default that configuration, I'll go back to forwarding order maybe. forwarding order configuration. If you, it's here. Let's go to the forwarding order configuration once again. So I should close this. Okay. Yeah. So in forwarding order planning. Okay. So in the forwarding order configuration here, define forwarding order types. You see here there is an option. I'm selecting one. There is an option of selecting the default stage type. Planning base. Yeah, this one I was talking about. You see there are two options, right? Stage determination by movement type and stage determination by stage profile. So for stage profile, you have to define this one. These are the, if you don't set up this, then your stage profile will not work. So that is what you are doing here. So you're saying that there can be which all stages you would be having, and then how they will come up. So this is what the stage profile, I mean stage sequence, stage profile is all about. Oh, sorry. No. And this one is the allowed airway bill type for the country. So if you define it, you will be getting the airway bill number. So it was not defined, so it was, which is why it was not coming. So you can always create a new entry and you define what all the airway bill types you may use. Let's say here one is given there. So you see direct shipment, back-to-back, payload, etc. So you can define it as well. This is not that much important. So I think I have touched on almost all the configuration part of the forwarding order. But if you have something, then I request you go back here in this configuration, you a bit do R&D over there, make some changes and check how it is impacting the forwarding order. But prior to that, you please go ahead and I think enough we had in last two sessions. You please go ahead and create a few forwarding orders if you have not done it already, and then you check what all I mean what all the fields are coming in the forwarding order, how they are coming, because you need to be very proficient here. I mean the fields in the forwarding order. If customer says something, you should be able to. There are so many tabs. There are so many tabs actually. So you should be very proficient. That if customer talks about a particular, let's say customer talks about mode of transport or means of transport, you should be knowing that it's in the general data tab. So likewise, so you should be very proficient here. Then you will be able to work clearly in the forwarding order.